There's three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. I'm Michael Wintemute. Welcome to the Triangle Report. Today I'm talking about electric vehicles. The first true automobile is generally credited to Carl Benz, who built the Benz patent motor wagon in 1885-1886. This is considered the first practical automobile, and it was powered by an internal combustion motor, or what we refer to as an ICE engine. But the first engines were really developed in the 18th century, and they were steam. And the first steam engine was created by Thomas Newcomb in 1712, but it was primarily used for pumping water out of mines. In the mid-1700s, 1760s and 1770s, James Watt made improvements to the steam engine and made it more efficient and commercially viable. This led to their widespread use in various industries, including transportation and manufacturing during the Industrial Revolution. Now, in the early 1920s, 20th century, and up to the early 1920s, there were several manufacturers making steam-powered vehicles in the United States. They began to decline in popularity as gasoline-powered vehicles became more efficient and practical. Steam engines required heated water before they could be driven. They were mechanically more complex, requiring additional maintenance, and they were typically heavier due to their boiler and water tank necessary for steam production. There were also safety concerns related to the pressurized steam boiler, which included the risk of explosion if not properly maintained. During the same time steam-powered cars were being produced, there were over 100 manufacturers of electric vehicles in the United States. Electric vehicles are very popular due to their quiet operation and ease of use, particularly in urban areas. One of the biggest problems with internal combustion engines was that they had to be started with the hand crank. That was connected to the front of the engine and had to be turned by hand, and this required brute strength, which made it difficult for women to start those engines, and as well, they often would backfire, which could break one's arm and or even kill the person using the crank if it hit them on the head. However, just like steam-powered vehicles, gasoline-powered vehicles, improvements in internal combustion technology, and the development of electric start motors, and with the expansion of road infrastructure, contributed to the decline of electric vehicles' popularity. Such issues with electric vehicles had nothing to do with the reliability of the electric motor. It was a limited range, go figure, and issues with access to charging stations. As we are all aware, electric motors are used in the majority of appliances that we have become accustomed to in our homes and in businesses with a proven record of reliability. Over the decades, the internal combustion motor has been improved and refined to perform much more efficiently and have a much longer life expectancy. There is no doubt that advancements in engineering and management systems will continue to improve the ICE engine. So what are the main differences between an ICE and electric motor? An internal combustion motor has 15 main components, and depending on the number of cylinders, some components are times 4, 6, 8, or more. If you consider all the smaller components like bolts, nuts, and other attachments, you have hundreds of parts. An electric motor is made up of 3 main parts with up to 4 supporting parts, depending on the motor. The electric motor, being a simpler design and with only one rotating part, has much greater reliability. At the same time, electric motors do not require the regular maintenance that an ICE engine needs in order to achieve longevity and reliability, which saves maintenance costs and the consistent changing of hazardous fluids. Tesla was founded in 2003, and Elon Musk became involved with Tesla in early 2004, when he led the company's initial round of investment funding. He also joined the Tesla board of directors as chairman and played a significant role in shaping the company's vision and direction. He became CEO and product architect in 2008 after a series of leadership changes. The first highway legal Tesla debuted in 2008 based on the Lotus Elise chassis. Musk claimed his electric vehicles are going to revolutionize the passenger vehicle market. Tesla introduced the Model S in 2012, representing its first all-electric luxury sedan. The Model S sedan received widespread acclaim for its performance, range, and innovative features, helping further establish Tesla's reputation in the electric vehicle market. Like any new technology or appliance, the development and design costs are upfront, and at the product's introduction, it usually comes with a higher price. In early 2021, the Tesla Model 3 was selling at $39,000. By late 2022 and into 2023, Tesla had made several price adjustments, and the base model price was dropping to as low as $26,995. As the transition to electric vehicles accelerates, the cost to manufacture will continue to come down as it has with Tesla. In 1910, the Ford Model T touring car was selling for $950. As assembly processes continue to automate, the price for the same model was $290 by 1924. Prior to the automobile, the horse was a personal transportation for families, and often they could not afford the cost of maintaining a horse. So the majority of North Americans did not travel more than 25 miles or 40 kilometers from their home during their lifetime. As the automobile became more affordable to the masses, it offered travel that otherwise had not been realistic. However, automobiles could not travel on rudimentary road systems that were created for horses. As the automobile became more popular, paved roads with drainage were needed. Rules, signage, and regulations were developed to manage the increasing volume of automobiles. Automated traffic signals, new cities, towns, and subdivisions were designed with road access as part of the planning. Dealerships to sell and service vehicles along with service stations for fuel and repairs were introduced. All of this was not planned when the automobile was in its infancy. The automobile and its popularity drove the need for this infrastructure. Electric vehicles use the same infrastructure, they just require a different source of energy. Unlike gas stations, electric vehicles can be charged at home and in parking garages. While global warming had been a talking point for a decade, it was starting to get more attention as the effects of global warming were starting to affect weather patterns, including serious ice melting in the northern and southern hemispheres. And science was claiming that the culprit was carbon emissions. It was suggested that one of the key ways to reduce carbon emissions was replace gasoline-powered passenger vehicles with all-electric vehicles. It was estimated that if all passenger vehicles were electric, 50% to 70% of transportation emissions could be decreased over time, depending on the energy source used for electric generation. While this would be a major undertaking, even if only it represented 20 to 25% of our carbon emission reductions, it would be substantial. Whether you like or dislike Elon Musk, he had a vision, he executed on that vision, he forced the major auto manufacturers worldwide to address the need to have affordable electric vehicles in their showrooms and focus on research and development to transition to fully electric products. If we put global warming and politics aside for the moment and focus on electric versus ICE vehicles, what are the reasons that would keep us from embracing electric vehicles? One of the common issues is the fact that batteries require rare earth materials, and in order to extract some of these materials, it can have negative impacts on the environment. However, the extraction of most minerals will negatively affect the environment, and it's just a matter of to what degree. It is incumbent on us to use or develop methods that cause the least damage, control the damage as best we can, and restore the site after the mine is no longer viable. This just makes common sense. While electric vehicles require more rare earth minerals, overall ICE vehicles require more mineral extraction, as they use considerably more parts in order to manufacture them. The biggest difference with electric vehicles is the size and weight of the battery pack needed to give electric vehicles sufficient range, known as range anxiety. Electric vehicles could not match the range of ICE vehicles, and it takes longer to charge the battery than it does to fill up the gas tank. However, the gap is closing as battery development is shortening the charging time and increasing energy storage. You can see in the spreadsheet that owning an electric vehicle will save you approximately $43,000 over 12 years, driving a total of 192,000 kilometers. With the next generation of battery packs, known as solid-state batteries, these will be lighter, store more energy, use less rare earth materials, charge faster, and are projected to achieve 1,000 to 1,600 kilometers in range, 620 to 1,000 miles, on a single charge, surpassing ICE-powered vehicles. Charging stations are an issue, and there is no doubt that if we're going to embrace electric vehicles, we need to have sufficient charging stations readily available. However, as I've already mentioned, you can install a charging station at your home. There is concern that electric vehicles' batteries degrade in cold temperatures. So using minus 40 Celsius, or which is the same at minus 40 Fahrenheit, they are equal, an electric battery pack can degrade 30% to 50%. For an ICE vehicle, the efficiency can degrade 20 to 30%, but it requires a block heater or some method of heating the block before you can start the engine. Battery improvements are already dealing with the issue and will continue to reduce degradation of the battery. There have been a number of articles suggesting that sales of electric vehicles are slowing or have stalled. As you can see by the graph, that is not factual. EV sales continue to grow and continue to drop in price as battery production increases, lowering manufacturing costs. In many models, comparable electric vehicles are selling at the same price as internal combustion engine vehicles. Some electric vehicles may be receiving government cash incentives. A recent survey from the Global EV Alliance collected data from over 23,000 electric vehicle drivers across 18 countries, including the United States, Canada, France, India, and Brazil, to name a few. According to the survey, over 90% of EV drivers plan to buy another electric vehicle after trading in their ICE car. Only 1% said they would return to an ICE vehicle. 45% said the number one reason is lower operating costs. 40% said they believe they are more climate friendly. 32% said they are better for the environment. 21% said they have good drivability, and 18% said they have lower maintenance costs. China currently has 62% of the global EV market. China's EVs are not being imported into Canada or the United States, as we currently cannot compete with their cars' prices. To protect our auto industry, both Canada and the United States have a 100% tariff on Chinese-built vehicles. If you take, for instance, a Ford EV Mustang Mach-E, its base price in Canada is $57,690 Canadian dollars, with a range of 515 kilometers, 320 miles. With the Chinese equivalent, a BYD EV called a C-Line 07, the base price in Canada before any import fees or tariffs would be $38,620 Canadian dollars, with a range of 609 kilometers, 379 miles. The difference is $19,070 Canadian dollars, but I'm not taking into account the 100% tariff. But if we use the import tax for European-built vehicles of 6.1%, the tax would be $2,356 Canadian, a difference of $16,715 Canadian dollars, still a substantial difference. China has 79% of the EV market in Mexico, but they also have manufacturing plants in Mexico. So from the Unifor website, which I looked at in March of this year, March 2025, there are currently 125,000 direct jobs and 462,000 spin-off and support jobs in the Canadian auto sector. I don't think these 587,000 Canadians who rely on the auto industry for their paychecks care if they are building electric or ICE vehicles. Electric vehicles are not going away. It's just whether some of them are built by those 587,000 Canadians or not. Let's talk about global warming and politics as they relate to electric cars. The car industry is a good example of the back and forth between those that want to continue to support ICE vehicles and the growing demand for EVs. The auto industry requires 3 to 5 years to introduce new models, and it can take decades to introduce and ramp up production of new technologies. If the United States federal government continues to change direction with respect to electric vehicles versus ICE vehicles every election cycle, the American auto industry will not survive. If global warming is caused by carbon emissions, then it only makes sense to phase out ICE vehicles. If the pushback in Canada and the United States is based along party lines, sadly, that is a very selfish and small-minded thinking. One thing that we can all agree on is the burning of hydrocarbons to fuel ICE vehicles generates heat. All you have to do is drive your ICE vehicle for a half hour or more, stop and put your hand on the tailpipe. I doubt you would hold your hand on the tailpipe very long. Just don't hold it too hard. Depending on the engine type, load, and operating conditions, the temperature will be between 300 and 900 degrees centigrade, 572 to 662 degrees Fahrenheit. It doesn't matter whether you are on the political left or political right. Mother Nature could care less. If carbon is a significant cause of global warming, unchecked, the increasing average temperature will kill all animal life, which includes human life. I'm not sure that is what I would want for my children and my grandchildren. Do you?